the innocent with the guilty?
אשר אהב את יצחק.
And no longer shall your name be called Abram, but your name shall be Abraham, for I have made you the father to a multitude of nations.
ולא יקרא עוד את שמך אברהם, והיה שמך אברהם, כי אב המון גויים נתתיך. האף תספה צדיק עם רשע.
Take, pray, your son, your only one, possessions as well. Leave them and go forth. Go to a place unknown, to a future shrouded in mist.
Your father's house, everything that you own, leave it behind you and go to the land that will show you. It was really difficult for Abraham. He didn't know what he's going to find there. But he knows one thing, he has to go there. Why? God told him. After he left Haran, he arrived to the promised land. To the promised land, God spoke to him for the second time. He told Abraham, this is the promised land. I'm going to give the entire land to you and to your children. Abraham said, wait a moment. Where is the promised land? There is nothing here. No food, no water. So they did something else. He went to Egypt. In Egypt he stayed for a very long time. And in the end, when he chose to return to the promised land, he chose to live in Sheba. He is the one, Abraham chose the name Sheba to the city. The city Sheba didn't call Sheba because of the 7 wells. Sheba in Hebrew, it means 7 wells. But when Abraham came here, he only dug 1 well. So why did he call this place Sheba? Because of the oath, the treaty between Abraham and Abimelech. We are all actually sitting in the place that Abraham made the very first peace agreement in the world. This is why now, 4,000 years later, people from all over the world, Jews, Muslim, Christian, look at Abraham as the father of the monotheism, the father of one God.
The sand does not preserve footsteps. The wind here in the desert erases everything. The tracks that man leaves, his actions and deeds, all his adventures. But one thing is never erased. The story. Because the stories are kept by the wind and whispered to anyone prepared to listen, to anyone who hears. Can you hear? Here in Sheba once lived a man, Abraham they called him, and he brought to the world the belief in one God, a belief that is held today by more than half of mankind. One man from Sheba. Here, listen to the wind. Such a belief does not come easily. God tried Abraham, tested his faith time and again, and from here, from Beersheba, he now sits out for the greatest trial of all.
Here I am. Take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah, and offer him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains of which I shall tell you.
they are walking in silence, father and son. Offer him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains. They're silent and they walk. One knows, the other is innocent. And Abraham remembers. After all, this test of faith did not begin today. It began long ago when he was still a boy in Haran. Abraham, young lad, you see what your father does not see, what no one around you sees. One God, creator of all, too prodigious and sublime to be depicted by a statue or by many idols. Now you are walking towards the most terrible sacrifice of your life. Around you an entire humanity, incapable of accepting this huge change in its history. One invisible God. The break with the world of idolatry meant that you had to break with the past to pass God's first test.
Go forth from your country, and from your relatives, and from your father's house, to the land which I will show you. And I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great, and so you shall be a blessing. And I will bless those who bless you, and the one who curses you I will curse. And in you all the families of the earth will be blessed.
You left your father's home, and now you must part with your son. Time is getting shorter, and Mount Moriah approaches. This is your boy. Offer him up with your own hands as a burnt offering. How will you become a great nation, and how will all the families of the earth be blessed in you? These are the boy's eyes. This is the wood for the offering. Will all your handiwork be consumed by fire? And who will inherit you, Abraham? Has God forgotten the covenant he made with you? Will the covenant between the pieces in which he revealed himself to you, promising this land to your seed, be violated? And the circumcision? He that is 8 days old shall be circumcised, every male throughout the generations, and my covenant shall be inscribed in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. Abraham's face is calm. Do we see his face furrowed by lines of doubt? Or is this the face of the absolute believer? He walks towards Mount Moriah and believes. How many years has he prayed and waited for this child? An old man, his wife Sarah, an old woman. From your seed will arise a nation, they tell him. But in all the reality around him, where is there even a hint of this promise being kept? But Abraham believes and remembers. He remembers how he came out joyfully to greet the unknown guests, offering them his home and all that was in it. Because in the desert, among those who thirst for water, the degree of goodwill is a matter of life or death.
Where is Sarah your wife? Behold, in the tent.
I will certainly return to you when the season comes around, and lo, Sarah your wife shall have a son.
Sarah laughed at the news brought by the angels. How would she have a son at her age? And now he strokes the head of Isaac, walking by his side to that dreadful scene on the mountain. Does something within him rebel? Perhaps he will stand up against his God. He's already done it once before, that time in Sodom. The sinful people of Sodom did that which was evil in the sight of God, who wanted to destroy their city. But even in the face of God himself, Abraham is not silent. He fights for a fair trial and asks for mercy.
Will you sweep away the righteous with the wicked? That be far from you to do after this manner. To slay the righteous with the wicked, so the righteous should be as the wicked? That be far from you. Shall not the judge of all the earth do justly?
But even 10 righteous men were not found in the city, and Sodom's fate was sealed. Fire and sulfur rained down upon it. What would be the fate of this boy who has never sinned in his life? You think of his mother, Sarah, this her only son, and you remember your other son, Ishmael, and Hagar, his mother. How you were pained about Ishmael, the fruit of your loins, and about Hagar. But the moment approaches. And Abraham rose early in the morning, and took bread and a bottle of water, and gave it unto Hagar, putting it on her shoulder, and the child, and sent her away. And she departed, and strayed in the wilderness of Beersheba. But Hagar and Ishmael were saved, and settled in the wilderness of Paran. Many tribes would yet spring from the loins of Ishmael. And then, at the end of your wanderings in the barren desert, you dig a well of life-giving water, and around it set down roots in the soil. The well is a junction of information, a center for meeting people and exchanging opinions and news. With the water, life flows. But many covet the well you have dug, among them also the servants of Abimelech.
Abraham, God is with you in all that you do. Now therefore, swear to me by God that you will not deal falsely with me, nor my son, nor his son, but according to the kindness I have shown you unto me and to the land where you have sojourned.
I will swear, but this well of water your servants have violently taken from me. I know not who has done this thing, nor did you tell me, and I heard of it but today. These 7 lambs you shall take from my hand, that it may be a witness unto me that I have dug this well.
Wherefore that place was called Beersheba, because there they swore both of them. So they made a covenant at Beersheba, and Abimelech rose up, and Pichol, the captain of his host, and they returned to the land of the Philistines. And Abraham planted a tamarisk tree in Beersheba, and called there on the name of the Lord, the everlasting God. And now all the memories disappear, and only this moment exists. 3 days have passed. The time has come. Father and son at the foot of the hill. Abraham, you have built your life's work. Here is the one who will continue along your path, and now you will sacrifice him as a burnt offering on Mount Moriah. And then what? Have you really reached the end of the journey? And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it upon Isaac his son, and he took in his hand the fire and the knife, and they went both of them together.
Father,
Here I am, my son.
behold the fire and the wood, but where's the lamb for a burnt offering?
God will provide himself the lamb for a burnt offering, my son. Abraham, here I am. Lay not your hand upon the lad, neither do anything unto him. For now I know that you are a God-fearing man, seeing you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me. By myself have I sworn, said the Lord, because you have done this thing and have not withheld your son, your only son, that in blessing I will bless, and in multiplying I will multiply your seed as the stars in the heaven and as the sand which is upon the seashore.
And Abraham returned to his young men, and they rose up and went together to Beersheba. Abraham, you became the father of many nations. 3 religions see you as a father and an example. How many sons and daughters you have, each of the siblings thinking differently, arguing and quarreling. But one thing has not changed. We all have one Father. And if we know his story, we may perhaps learn about ourselves. Because Abraham's journey never ends. It is your journey to your faith, to the goodwill within you, the mercy and compassion that you find in yourself. Can you possibly dream? Walk forward without knowing, but also without fear? Wonder about obedience and ethics? See your great dream through the sand that pricks your eyes. This is an ancient dream that will face countless trials and tests. But if you hold on to it and do not let go, it will lead you to the promised land.